Please welcome to the stage your host, Allie Lawrence!
Hey! What is up, Caveat? Thank you all for being here. What the heck? We're packed out on a Monday night. Yes! I love each and every one of you. I so appreciate you being in this room with me tonight. I wanted to give a little context for the show before we get started. And I wanted to give a huge shout out to Caveat for having us here. Tech and Bar, make sure we're tipping them well. I was a very shy child growing up, you guys. Yeah, and my mom would write to my teachers before every school year saying, "She is an observer. Please do not push her outside of her comfort zone. She likes to come to things in her own time." And I know what you're thinking. You're like, loser. My anxiety was such that I would throw up before every picture day. That's neither here nor there. I just ruined a lot of outfits. It upset my mom. And then when I finished middle school and going into high school, my mom gifted me this book. It's called Quiet: The Power of Introverts in a World That Just Can't Stop Talking. What the hell? Shut the hell up. So I read it and I took it to heart. It has a lot of advice in there. And in high school, I decided to join the speech team. And I had my heart set on doing humorous speaking. And my coach, he said, well, might I suggest oratory or poetry or something for quieter kids? And something else about me is that I don't like to be told what to do, and I like to prove people wrong. So I did humorous speaking and went to state and nationals a couple times. And now, after exposure therapizing myself through performance, I find myself here in front of you. And after 3 decades of observing, I've got some shit to say. So I'm so excited to perform Quiet Kid for you tonight. All my very best material over the past several years. I'm feeling more confident in my voice than ever before. Like I said up top, I was the quiet kid growing up, yeah? Any other quiet heads in the house? Nice, not too loud. Yeah, just like we like it. We don't want to scare anybody. I was recently talking to an uncle and he goes, yeah, it's pretty cool you're doing the whole comedy thing considering you were so goddamn quiet as a kid. I don't want to make you feel weird, but you were pretty painful to talk to. Awesome, cool. Hey, I'm Allie and I'm feeling weird now. You like the ramen or So it's funny to me because it never goes the other way, you know? You never hear someone say, oh, you're working at the library? How'd you get into that, considering you never shut the fuck up as a kid? It seems a little backwards, but good for you, good for you. Yeah, I do run at a pretty anxious octane. I started some anxiety meds not too long ago, and I immediately started shitting blood. So if you thought you were anxious before, might I suggest shitting blood? It actually cured me. I shat the anxiety right out. Nice. Yeah. It feels good. I was talking to my mom recently and I said, God, I hate being on my period. And she said, Allie, you're not on your period, you're having it. And I was like, quite literally, I'm on it, I'm in it, I'm all up on my period blood. And she said, Allie, stop saying period, it's vulgar. Turns out her word of choice is menstruation, which is actively disgusting. So I can't wait to call her next month to tell her that I'm shitting blood out of both holes. Yeah. Nice! I think she'll get a kick out of that one. My parents were pretty restrictive with social media and technology growing up. Before I could get a Facebook, they had me watch The Social Network. Yeah. A fine film. My mom sat me down and she said, Allie, this website was made to rank women. Are you sure you still want one? And I said, yes, please. I'd rather not be a social pariah my entire life. So I got on that website and I said, hello, boys, tell me how hot I am. And first week, this kid from my class messaged me and he said, hey, big forehead, get fucked. So it feels good to be on Mark Zuckerberg's interwebs. He has created a wonderful playground for us all. Not the downfall of society whatsoever. Yeah, do not worry, you guys. I did not get fucked. I got bangs. So we're doing good. We're doing good. Not a lot has changed for me on the interwebs. I went viral not too long ago for looking like John Denver. So now people love to message me saying, "Make me a coffee, you John Denver looking ass bitch." I think it's the glasses. Not because he's my dad. Not because he's my dad. Not because he's my dad. It's not going to come to a surprise to any of you. Middle school was pretty tough for me. Yeah. I had dandruff in my eyebrows and not a lot of friends. Yeah, it's okay. I would sit by my locker and moisturize my eyebrows with Vaseline. And then one day this kid, Eric, goes, "Hey, Allie, you're going to be the 40-year-old virgin." And you know what, Eric? Joke's on you, because my parents have not let me see that yet. I do not get a single reference any of you guys are making. Also, not 40. So, it doesn't even make sense. Yeah. It doesn't make sense to me. I grew up in Denver, Colorado. Pretty cool place. Yeah, we got some Mile Highs in the house. It's a cool place to grow up. It's a driving town, so before I could get my driver's license, I had to take driving lessons. And my driver instructor, he goes, "Yeah, I'm feeling a bit peckish. We're going to swing by my house so I can pick up a snack." We get to his house, he runs in, he comes back out with a loose bag of fish. We're talking salmon in a Ziploc bag. He's snacking on the way back to the school, greasy. We get back, and I'm telling my mom the story. Like, he ran into his house, he got this loose bag of fish, thinking it's funny. And my mom goes, "Allie, you never go to a random man's house." And I said, "I don't know what to tell you. He had a brake pedal on his side." We were going to where he wanted to go, and the man was hungry. I'm not going to get between a ravenous man and his wet fish. Yeah. My mom, on the other hand, she is a slut for MapQuest, you guys. Yeah, she's diehard. She prints out the directions and downloaded their app, so she's just double fisting it on the highway. And I recently learned that her GPS is set to a British man's voice. And when I asked her why, she said, "Allie, I don't like it when women tell me what to do." And I said, "Okay, Miss Misogyny, let's break that one down." She goes, "No thanks." So I tried again. "All right, love, what's all this then?" Yeah. She opened it right up to me. Yeah. Felt great to talk to my mom again. Super cool. I lied to you guys up top. My name is not Allie. My real name is Elizabeth Walton Allen Lawrence, which is just about the whitest name in the history of ever. It's so white you can almost hear it being written with a feathered quill in cursive. And I was named after my great-great-great aunt, who was the first listed survivor on the Titanic. And I asked my mom why she named me after her, and she said, "Allie, never forget. We are survivors. I wanted you to be a survivor." And I was like, Jesus Christ, from what, a cruise ship? Understandably, my mom was pretty obsessed with the Titanic movie growing up. She would be singing Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On" while violently chopping up iceberg lettuce. And it's a slow burn. The day came, we were finally old enough to watch the Titanic, and she sat me and my sister down and she goes, "Oh, girls, get ready. This is your ancestry." So we watched the film. My sister is sobbing. I'm stone-faced, dead eyes. And my mom goes, "Girls, what's wrong?" My sister said, "I thought it was supposed to be a musical." And then I said, "I thought it was supposed to be good." So, that is how I got the nickname Allie, not worthy of the family name. As a kid, I wanted a dog more than anything else, you guys. My parents were not too keen on it, so I memorized every breed in the American Kennel Club. And they finally acquiesced, and then when I was in college, my dog wasn't doing too well. And I got a call from my mom, and she said, "Allie, your dog tried to kill herself and take us with her." And I said, okay, pause. Let's roll that one back. What? And it turns out my dog had crawled into the basement and chewed through the gas line. Because when they know, they know. And my mom woke up and said, I smell gas. And my dad said, no, you don't, go back to bed. So then my mom got everyone out of the house. My dad runs back inside, turns off the gas line, and carries the dog outside. And the gas and fire people said a couple more minutes and the whole thing would have gone up. So after my mom told me about my dog nearly orphaning me, I talked to her about having boundaries on phone calls and asked that the next time she called to say, hey, is now a good time to talk? And then to say if it were happy or sad. And then we could continue from there. Because I didn't want to have another situation of crying over my oats in the dining hall. Oh, dear. Thank you, Molly. Thank you. That really tickled you. Yeah, I recently saw my mom, you guys, which was pretty cool because I needed some new material. And we got some mom heads in the house. I was in Buffalo, New York with her, where she grew up, and she was introducing me to people. She would say, this is my daughter, Allie, and they would go, oh, what do you do? And I would say, I'm a barista in Brooklyn. And then my mom would go, no, tell them what you do in the night. Go on, tell them what you do in the night. While we were in Buffalo, we went to a comedy show because my mom was like, this is what you do in the night. And the opening comic, he targeted me for some crowd work. And he said, you single? And I said, well, yes, in this moment I am. And he goes, you ever had a boyfriend? I said, no, I have not. And he goes, what, so you're a virgin then? I said, also, no. Contrary to what Eric would have had you believe in 8th grade. No, I'm not. And then he goes, what, so you're just giving pussy out for free? And I was like, well, when you put it like that, that is exactly what I'm doing. My mom has taken to calling me a slut, but giving pussy out for free is a lot more fun. I think I'm going to be using that one. I do love being a barista, you guys. I love to get into my coffee grind, my milky flow. I love to say stuff like, yeah, I've got a big cup of milk for my little milky baby. And you'll never believe this, the customer hates that. So I have to say, latte for Gary. They never want to play my little games. Occasionally, I will have a freak out about a job, you know, oh, what am I doing? What was I made for? And then it gets to be late at night, and I think, yeah, I should be an orthodontist. And then I think, no, I never had braces. I couldn't relate to the client. And then it gets a little later, and I think, and teeth are why I don't believe in God. And then I go to bed in a spiral of anxiety. One of my first jobs in New York City was at a big bookstore. And right before I quit, they condemned our break room down in the basement. And we were all like, what the heck? And turns out they found a nest of rats melted to a radiator under some jackets. And I said, hey, that's actually really cool, you guys. I eat my lunch in there. And I have been doing so for a year. So I think I will see my way out the exit. Not so good. Working in service jobs, I've got a lot of stories, a lot of characters come through. The bakery antique shop that I was working at for some time, this man walked by twirling a cane, and he goes, ooh, a candy shop. And then he came in and stole a bunch of antique keys. But here's the thing, you guys, his attitude was so good. He made my day and was probably Willy Wonka. So I really hope that he found the doors that those open. Another time, this regular came in and she said, were you running around the park yesterday? And I said, well, I was there doing that. And she goes, I thought so. I said, there goes that little built girl from the cafe. Ooh, uh-oh. Built girl, not loving that. Some thoughts can stay inside. Another time I had this gentleman come in and he ordered Americano, a slice of cheesecake, and a cookie. And I said, amazing, anything else I can get for you? And he goes, why the hell is it amazing? And I was like, well, if we can't live for 2 treats and a coffee, then what the fuck are we doing? Everything feels bad! Plus also, the more of a little show I put on, I hope that you will tip more. Just trying to make your day. Another time, we had this man come in, he orders a latte, and I said, hot or iced? A standard question, or so I thought. And he goes, not hot. And I said, so iced? It being summer and all. And he goes, not iced. And then we played a game of hot and cold until we discovered that he wanted a hot latte, but not too hot to burn his tongue. So I, being mother, tested the milk on the inside of my wrist. Not too hot and not too cold for my little prince. Yeah, he got exactly what he wanted. Learned how to use the big words that day. Yeah. I am getting to the age where I'm a lot older than all my coworkers. And I was working at a spot where a lot of them were 17. They were talking about prom and summer break. And we had this man come in and he slid his number over to one of the 17-year-olds. And she went, oh, sorry, I have a boyfriend. So he slid it to the other one. And she went, actually, I'm a child. Iconic. And then he turned to leave, and I said, oh, but my liege, I am of age. And he left faster than he came in. He was not into it. That's all right. I'm not into pedophiles. So he can see his way out. I've not been too lucky in love historically, you guys. I am banned from Hinge for deleting the app too many times. So if there's anyone here from Hinge Marketing, I've got some notes. I thought it was the app designed to be deleted, so I put it to the fucking test. And your app is broken. One of the Hinge dates I went on, we were at a bar, I went to the bathroom, came back, and he was gone. I was like, oh, all right, well, I guess I'll pack it up. I go outside, and he's doing push-ups in the street. And I said, hey, everything all right? And he goes, yeah, I have 300 push-ups a day, and I had 20 left. It's almost midnight. And I was like, well, my carriage is here. I will not be seeing you later, Cinderella. But have a good one. Another time I was in the Dumbo area on a date, and I said, oh, I live underneath the bridge and the lights. And the guy goes, pretty sure it's Dumpo with a P. And I was like, oh yeah, famously down under the Manhattan Bridge overpass. That would be my bad. Cut to a couple hours later, and I said, hey, let's mix it up, try it from behind. And he goes, no thanks, I don't think it'll reach. And I was like, we're not even gonna try? I can suck my Dumbo ass in really good. He was not into callbacks. Did not find that funny. So, anyone here ever been Winnie the Pooh before? Yeah. Yeah, it's when he keeps his shirt on and I'm butt-ass naked. And then he keeps saying, oh bother, while licking my honey pot. Hey, stop that. Get out of here. Get out of here. Oh bother. The tides have turned for me, you guys. I did have a meet cute on the subway. And, yeah. It can happen anywhere. He complimented my smile, and when I was telling my mom the story, she goes, what the hell were you smiling about on the subway? Oh, can't I have anything? One of our first dates, we were talking about what we like to do for fun, and I was like, oh yeah, I like to rollerblade, jump rope, run around like a little built girl. And he goes, absolutely no offense, but you exercise like it's recess. And I was like, yeah, it's recess and I've got 2 minutes left. I got to do all the activities. So it's true what they say, to be loved is to be seen. Pivoting, you guys, growing up I had a lot of weird medical issues. For one, my knees grew faster than the rest of my body. Don't look. I went to the doctor to get him checked out, and he came in with the x-rays, and he goes, "Oh, you've got great birthing hips." I was like, "Well, I'm 12." So it's a little weird thing to say to someone who hasn't had their period yet. Another time, my eyes weren't draining properly. I had a dacrylith in my eye, so I couldn't cry myself to sleep at night. So I went back to the doctor, and he goes, "Hey, itty bitty titty committee." And I was like, "Well, common mistake, eyes up here." I guess they don't do that in medical school. But when I first moved to New York City, I was coming out of the subway, and this guy across the street goes, "All ass, no titties!" And I was like, "Oh my God, thank you." I'm actually looking for a second opinion. Are you a doctor? That is really great to hear. Great to hear. I got my period in 8th grade, and I've been cramping like a little bitch ever since. Yeah. My cramps are so bad that my doctor prescribed horse tranquilizers, and if that doesn't make me a horse girl, I don't know what will. My mom's one of those lucky people who has never experienced menstrual cramps, and so she often didn't know what to say to me when I was cramping, but her go-to was, "You're training for birth! You're training for birth!" I was like, "Ugh, actually hate that. I would rather not be giving birth for a week out of every month." If that's the case, I'm going to need an epidural at the bodega. Stat. I'm going to need that stat. I was eating a bowl of fruit with my very best friends, you guys, recently. As one does. And we were snacking, and I said, "You guys are eating the kiwis even though they make your throat itch?" And they said, "Allie, we think you're allergic to kiwis." I said, "Oh, my bad. I was eating them skin on. It's a little itchy going down." And then I was talking to my sister, and I was like, "Yeah, you know when you put a tampon in and then your mouth tastes like cotton?" And she said, "Allie, what?" So it turns out that's just a me thing. I've been experimenting with a salted pretzel rod. Yeah. I'll let you guys know the tasting notes at the end of the show. Hey, it works wonders, a little salty. The yeast infection goes crazy. Yeah. Yeast infection does go crazy. I do, my very best vibrator has quite the motor to her, and I do have 3 roommates. So I make sure to yell out, "Oh, I can't wait to try out my new electric toothbrush with all its cool settings!" before each session. So as far as my roommates know, I really like to brush my teeth in my room. Yeah, the oral hygiene is good. One of my grandmothers had dementia and the other had early onset Alzheimer's, so my memory palace is cooked. I have resolved to live life to the fullest. Starting out, I did get an IUD for Christmas, you guys. Hell yeah, I wanted to get over some sexual hang-ups, and also my mom wouldn't stop calling me every Sunday to say, "Your sister was a condom baby," and then she'd hang up. And I really wanted her to stop doing that. My sister and I do have that in common. We have pretty bad pregnancy anxiety. My sister's is worse than mine, though. She did take a pregnancy test after her first kiss. So that's adorable. We've come a long way. I did try to get an IUD about 3 years ago, but the practitioner made a whoopsie and perforated my uterus. Uh-oh, not supposed to happen. It was actually super cool, though, because I have always wondered what it would feel like if the little mouse from the Tale of Despero ran up my cervix and stabbed me with his tiny sword. Does not feel good. Me personally, blacked out, lost all feeling below the waist. But this time the insertion went well. The practitioner reassured me. She said, "Honey, not to worry. I used to put these things in on buses." So I said, "Well, knock me out and neuter me, doc." She did. And now sex is pretty cool with an IUD. It's like there's an electric fly swatter in there. Me and my boyfriend both finish, and then you hear and he goes, "Whoa, did we just unlock a new orgasm?" I'm like, "Yeah, babe, that's the sound of my uterus becoming uninhabitable." Pretty sexy. My boyfriend did recently reveal that he likes to dirty talk to himself during his workouts, which I just found to be the most endearing thing I've ever heard. And it really got me thinking, because for him it sounds a little like, "Oh yeah, baby, come on." But mine is a little different. You know, if I were to dirty talk to myself during a workout, it would be like, "Ooh, excellent." Yes. Cheers to the governor! Oh! So that is a lot of fun. You may have noticed through the night I have a pretty silly way of talking. A lot of people like to say, "Where the hell are you from?" And when I say Denver, they go, "They talk like that out there?" I went to Trader Joe's recently, and I got a case of sparkling coconut water, and the cashier said, "Oh, have you tried these?" And I said, "Not yet, but I'm very excited." And he goes, "Say, what's your accent, Mrs. Doubtfire?" It's like, well, I have not heard that before, but you better believe I'll be saying a little more "hello, dearie" in my day-to-day. That is a lot of fun. And I know what you guys are thinking. You're looking at me, you're like, "Yeah, that's a goody two-shoes up there. She likes the rules. She's never been in trouble." And there you would be wrong. I did get a ticket for hopping the subway turnstile. Yeah, it was $100, and I figure that if I hop it about 37 more times, I will have paid it off. But I hopped it in a dress and heels, so on principle I was like, "You should probably let me go, because that was cool as hell." But I did hop it right into 7 cops, and they went, "You can't do that." And I was like, "Yeah, well, we all know that." And then they took my ID, and they were writing my name and my height and my weight on the ticket. But weird, my weight is not on my ID, and weirder still, the cop wrote the right weight. So I figured out what they're all doing down there. They're guessing people's weights, and they're getting really good at it. Yeah, they're getting really good. I did go to a concert recently, and the security guard was going through my bag, checking it out, and he found my secret pocket with my spare pair of underwear. And he goes, "Ooh, sorry about that." I said, "Oh, not to worry, it is clean. I just pissed myself on a duck boat tour twice." And I did shit myself during a middle school jump rope competition. So little neurotic me keeps a spare pair at all times. Speaking of music, you guys, I'm going to pivot really quickly into some piano characters to round out the night. Oh, this has been such fun. I thank you all again for being here. It'll just take me a mere moment. Do a little sound check there. I love music, you guys. And I love Spotify Wrapped season, because you can see what all your friends are listening to. And this past season, my mom, she messaged me and she said, "How do I get my Spotify present?" So I sent her the instructions. And she said, "Nothing's showing up." And I said, "Mom, did you listen to music this year?" And she goes, "Oh, I guess not." Well, you gotta give a little present to get a little present. The way the algorithm works. All right, from my perch here, this first character is a woman who sees a piano. Oh, what is this? 72 keys? Don't mind if I do. What was that? 2 hands? Sure. You want me to put them together? Well, for that I'd need 3 hands. You know the other part? Well, no, it's about me. It's about me. I actually know how to play piano. You want me to play a little more? Well, I guess I could play a little something from high school. Oh, stop! I hear it's called jazz. Well, did I hear an encore? Oh, yeah, well, sure. I guess I could play a little, Oh, never mind. I have to pick my kids up from swim school. For this next character, I call this Michael. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to my channel. We familiar with Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, yeah? But what would that freaking sound like if he composed it on a drum kit? Sounds pretty sick, doesn't it? And now, I know what you're freaking thinking. You're thinking, Michael, that could have been any song you're playing on the drum kit. Okay, I challenge you this. You ever familiar with Chopin and his Valse in A minor? Cool. Okay, so what would it sound like if that little freak found a drum kit? Thank you. Yeah, it sounds pretty different, doesn't it? Yeah. Mom, I am practicing. Tune into my channel next week to hear another classical fuck on the keys. All right, hell yeah. And for this last character to round out the night, you guys, I'm going to recreate when I played Katy Perry's Firework for my middle school talent show. Thank you. Hey, everybody. I'm Allie. And this is Katy Perry. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting you through the wind, wanting to start again? So Katy Perry, she wrote in starting again there, so I think I'm going to take her up on that opportunity. But I'm just going to pump it up for you guys a little bit. Is anybody else's butthole shaking? Okay. Do you ever feel like a waste of space? An original could probably be replaced. Those aren't the words. I think the beat messed me up a little bit, so I'm just going to take it one more time. Sorry, that was How to Save a Life. Does anybody else want to save mine? All right, you guys, that is the show. Thank you so much for being here. This was a joy and a pleasure of a lifetime. I love each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you.